Chapter 71 Shocking Dragon Roar, Rushing Towards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Imperial Capital, Special Military Area, Guojing, the top leader of the military region, was shocked beyond words when he heard the sound in his ears. Another national luck reward, all resources increased by 50%. This is really a great happy event. Colonel Wang Zhengguo's pupils shrank suddenly, and he was as surprised as if there was a thunderous explosion above his head. He couldn't help but said, bringing national sports awards twice in a row, how did Su Bai do it? It has broken all the highest records in the land of redemption many times. How could it be possible to create such a brilliant record with just the weakest Zerg? Guojing was shocked, his eyes filled with disbelief. Before coming to the land of redemption, the defensive building blueprint given to him could only protect Su Bai's territory and kill invading beasts. However, it is a complete fantasy to say that with this defensive structure, we can reach the top of the list. What kind of secret is hidden in this child Su Bai? Being able to continuously bring national fortune rewards to the country is by no means just a matter of Zerg. Chief, although I don't know the specific reason, Su Bai firmly ranks first on the list. This is really an encouraging thing. Wang Zhengguo paused and continued, perhaps, after the beast tide is over, Su Bai can still occupy the first place on the list, and then he can get a more powerful national luck reward. If this is the case, Su Bai will be the hero of the Dragon Kingdom. Bringing national fortune rewards to the country 3 times in a row is undoubtedly unprecedented and unprecedented. Guojing's eyes showed a hint of excitement. Last year, the United States occupied the top spot and was so arrogant that it almost reached the sky. This year, Su Bai, a dark horse, emerged. The United States' dream of continuous hegemony may be shattered. The comprehensive strength in Su Bai's territory is probably quite unusual. Wang Zhengguo murmured. Guojing nodded. This child is filled with too many mysteries, but one thing is for sure. It is definitely not luck that can set the highest record in the land of redemption multiple times. Experts from the Academy of Sciences actually suggested that Su Bai should be left to fend for himself. Such experts are simply blind. Wang Zhengguo was filled with indignation and couldn't help but cursed repeatedly. When the beast tide ends and these new lords return to Earth, I must ask those experts to solemnly apologize to Su Bai. If they refuse, I will report it. I am not afraid that they will not apologize. Guojing was a little excited and said bitterly, if Su Bai had been abandoned according to the opinions of those experts, not even a resource package would have been issued, then Su Bai will definitely be disappointed in this country. It is the most correct choice to go against all opinions and angrily criticize those experts. Just imagine, if Su Bai is pushed to the opposite side of the country, it will be unbearable disaster and pain. At the same time, Academy of Sciences, the announcement of the land of redemption rang out in every corner. All the experts looked at each other with dull eyes, and some didn't know what to do. Why is this Zerg Lord Su Bai able to create so many miracles? Reach the top of the points leaderboard, breaking all the highest records in the land of redemption many times, bring national luck rewards. This is really shocking. I think back then, I even proposed to give up Su Bai, but just such a person became the hero of the Dragon Kingdom. After the beast tide is over, Su Bai returns to the military area. How should he face him? Thinking of this, all the experts turned pale with regret, and their intestines turned blue with regret. You shouldn't, if Su Bai hates us, what should we do? Su Bai awakened from a globally recognized waste race. Why didn't he die in the beast wave? Why did he reach the top of the list and break the record? The decision made by the Academy of Sciences when it was originally proposed to give up Su Bai and not provide any resources was probably a very wrong decision. Now quickly think of remedial measures. How should we face Su Bai when he comes back? All the experts from the Academy of Sciences looked nervous, and their hearts sank as if they were tied to a stone. At this moment, for the first time, foreign reporters, diplomats, and news practitioners in the Dragon Kingdom quickly spread the news back to their home countries in various ways. The people of Japan, me, the Hanming, Asen and other countries were all in a state of shock. Shit, national luck reward, why is the luck of the Dragon Kingdom so good? It's only been so long, why are there any national sports rewards again? Baga, Longguo must be cheating. Lord Subai of the Dragon Kingdom, what race has awakened to be so powerful? God, please tell me this can't be true. It is absolutely impossible to receive a national fortune reward before the beast tide is over. How did Subai do it when he broke all the highest records in the land of redemption many times? Walter Fack, the Lord of the Dragon Kingdom, must have used some shameful means. Cheating is shameful. I want to call on all countries in the world to join the United States in sanctioning the Dragon Kingdom. The Japanese Empire agrees. Dahan Mingwa agrees. Asen Kingdom joins the plan to sanction Dragon Kingdom. People in various countries are either shocked, jealous, or angry. The leaders of various countries have already taken action in advance, wanting to dig out all kinds of information about Subai. However, Subai's files and related information have been transferred to the highest confidentiality level by Guojing. Foreign spies and intelligence personnel cannot get effective information at all. At most, you can collect some gossips. The place of redemption. Subai stood in the territory, looked at the system announcement in front of him, and smiled. National luck reward. Not bad. He didn't pay too much attention, and he didn't know at all that the outside world was already in a state of excitement. Open the new Lord points ranking list. First place, Subai, Lord of Dragon Kingdom, 6,810 points. Second place, Maxon, American Lord, 1178 points. Third place, Lev Rokoski, Lord of the Bear Country, 1080 points. More than 5,000 points ahead of the second place, as stable as a mountain, perfect. Subai raised the corners of his mouth and nodded with satisfaction. After the beast tide ends, the unique and mysterious grand prize will definitely be mine. Lords of other countries, I'm sorry, you have no chance. After exterminating the third wave of beasts, a large number of souls exploded, but Subai didn't intend to recruit. He wanted to wait for the Baneling nest to be built before recruiting a new wave of troops. There are not many resources in short supply, and the worker bees should be able to collect them quickly. At this time, a concussive dragon roar came from afar. The dragon's roar. Subai's complexion changed, and there was a hint of solemnity in his eyes. In redemption, dragons are extremely powerful ancient creatures. No matter which category, they are far superior to ordinary creatures. Chapter 72 Wilderness Giant, Evil Archbishop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it possible that the strength of my territory is so strong that it attracts creatures like dragons? Subai murmured to himself. Logically speaking, an extremely powerful creature like a dragon could only be encountered after becoming an official lord. I have never heard of dragons appearing among the beasts that a new lord faces. To be on the safe side, Subai ordered the springtails to leave their territory and go out for inspection, find out in advance where the source of this dragon roar is. More than 400 springtails strode away with 4 hooves. After a long time, springtails return. No trace of dragon-like creatures was found. Did you just pass by, yell and leave? Subai's eyes were full of doubts. The beast tide of other lords is not over yet. Wait. Half an hour later, the cold mechanical synthesized sound of the system suddenly sounded from my ears. Warning, the fourth wave of beast attack is about to begin. Announcement, all new lords, please note that the fourth wave of beasts you are facing may have some special enemies, so please be careful when dealing with it. Subai looked around and was surprised to find that this time there were no dark beasts outside the territory. The end of the horizon, a giant 5 meters tall, holding a huge mace, was approaching quickly. He has brown hair, an ugly and ferocious face, and particularly prominent eyes. Wild giant, quality, excellent. Level, LV16. Introduction, a giant wandering in the wilderness, with a simple mind, well-developed limbs, and powerful attack power. Is there only one monster in the fourth wave of beasts? But he looks far worse than the giant griffin. Subai looked puzzled, with a trace of doubt in his eyes. Lord, there is another person sitting on the shoulders of the wilderness giant. Kerrigan's eyesight is sharp, like that of a falcon, able to see clearly the smallest detail of things from a great distance. As the distance got closer, Subai was able to see clearly. A humanoid creature wearing black robes with glowing green eyes sat on the right shoulder of the wilderness giant. Focusing his attention, lines of information popped up. Evil Archbishop, quality, excellent. Level, LV22. Introduction, the devout archbishop who originally believed in light and law, was corrupted by the power of evil and became a slave of the Lord of Darkness. Evil Archbishop. A special enemy has appeared. As expected, I will always be the luckiest person. Subai's eyes were burning. Without any fear, he forced him to be strong, and the breeze was blowing on the hills. Dealing with such elite-level monsters is exactly what the Queen of Blades is good at. Human Lord, you have done a lot of killing and are full of sins. The gods of the Redemption Land will not forgive you. Besides death, there is another way before you. Embrace the darkness, sacrifice your soul, and become a slave of the Lord of Darkness. That the evil archbishop let out a cold and sinister laugh. Subai sneered, Lord of Darkness. If he is willing to be my slave, then I can consider sparing your lives. The killings are heavy and the crimes are full. He was a little flattered by the enemy's evaluation. Subai, am so virtuous and capable that I can receive such an honor. You are a small human being who dares to blaspheme the majesty of the Lord of Darkness. Today, darkness is coming, and I will definitely launch the most cruel judgment on you. That the evil archbishop was furious, and the green light in his eyes became particularly eerie. It's just two enemies, even if they are a little higher level, it's nothing to worry about. Subai had a smile on his face, and his eyes were full of calmness. Next moment, the evil archbishop formed a seal with his hands and chanted an obscure and complex spell. The soil on the ground began to boil, with many earthy yellow bubbles emerging. From the large sludge, twisted soft monsters crawled out. It is about 1 meter tall, has an earthy color all over, and its teeth and eyes are very asymmetrical. In Subai's sight, these monsters were like piles of soft and slippery soil turned into essence. Ooze monster, quality, excellent. Level, LV8. Introduction, a sentient, sticky creature that comes from deep underground areas. It contains a certain proportion of elemental substances in its body, but this substance has been contaminated by chaotic forces. Characteristics, if the clay body is not completely destroyed, it will gradually merge until it recovers. Damn it! Hundreds of new enemies appeared, and they were slapped in the face so quickly. Subai couldn't help but draw a black line on his face. On the orders of the evil archbishop, the oozes attack. They wriggle forward, elongate their bodies, and then retract forward from the rear, over and over again, to achieve locomotion. Hydralisks, kill them! Subai shouted loudly. 390 hydralisks stood tall, the bone plates under their carapace opened, and hundreds of armor-piercing bone needles were launched. Whoosh! 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 A large piece of ooze monster was pierced by bone needles, and its clay body was shattered and scattered on the ground. The next second, the scattered earth bodies automatically approached each other, gradually merged, and returned to their original appearance. Can't physical attacks kill them? Subai was slightly surprised. The evil archbishop continued to cast spells, summoning more ooze monsters. The springtails attack, tearing them in half with their sharp claws. As expected, the mud body quickly fused and reorganized, and the torn ooze monster was resurrected again. The attack of the flaming arrow was also of no avail. The sticky soil cannot be burned and is fused and reorganized again. However, under the series of blows, the ooze monsters' progress became very slow. Kerrigan, kill the evil archbishop first and prevent him from continuing to cast spells. Subai spoke quickly and issued orders. As you command, Lord. The duration of the flying scroll has expired. Kerrigan bypasses the ooze monster in front and attacks in a roundabout way from the right. Alien, go and help the Queen of Blades fight. Subai ordered again. Shout! The 10 alien dragons flapped their leather wings and flew forward quickly. Kill the evil archbishop first, and then find a way to deal with the ooze monsters at the end. There must be a road before the car reaches the mountain, and there will always be a trick. Just a few moments. Kerrigan has already arrived. Roar! The wilderness giant roared, brandished his mace, and smashed it forward. Kerrigan's bone wings vibrated. Her figure was elegant, and her speed was extremely fast. Although the mace is huge in size, it cannot hit at all. I am a slave of the Lord of Darkness. Want to kill me? You don't have any chance. The evil archbishop's hands formed seals again, controlling the ooze monsters on the field to come to protect him. At the same time, he ordered the wilderness giant to retreat and keep distance. Die! Kerrigan pressed down with both hands and released the crushing grip. Powerful psychic power erupted and enveloped the front. Next moment, the evil Archbishop and the wilderness giant were both stunned on the spot. Kinetic impact. Kerrigan pushed out her right palm, and a group of spiritual energy shining with purple light condensed out of thin air and flew forward. There was a bang, the evil Archbishop's body was blown to pieces and he died on the spot. Although his level is very high, he is not good at melee combat and his resistance is very low. Being approached by the Queen of Blades will only lead to death. Chapter 73 Continuous Upgrades and Great Gains. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The evil Archbishop is dead, and the creatures he summoned should also die with him. Subai looked intently. The ooze monster dragged its soft and slippery mud body and continued to attack the territory at a slow speed. It didn't die out, which is a bit difficult now. The attacks launched by springtails, hydralisks, and fire arrows are all ineffective and can only temporarily slow them down. At the same time, 10 alien dragons flapped their leather wings and hovered in front of the wilderness giant. The secretion cavity at the tail surged, and a large number of squirming blade insects were continuously sprayed out. Bang bang bang, there were so many symbiote blade bugs that they exploded on the head and heart of the wilderness giant. Blood spurted out. The wilderness giant died immediately and fell heavily to the ground, raising large amounts of smoke and dust. Although these two enemies are of high level, they cannot withstand the crushing grip of the Queen of Blades. With both being stunned, the battle becomes extremely simple. At the very least, it is much easier to deal with than the giant griffin in the last wave of beasts. However, more than 200 slime monsters looked a bit overwhelming. If this continues, sooner or later they will rush into the territory. Subai frowned, and there was a trace of solemnity in his eyes. At this time, the blade insect that attacked the wilderness giant quickly broke into 3 pieces and spattered towards the nearby ooze monster. Chucky. After the ooze monster was attached to the blade insect, bursts of yellow smoke emitted, as if a puddle of water had been evaporated by flames. The earthen body began to gradually melt away under the erosion of the body fluids that exploded after the blade insect festered. It can no longer be reorganized and fused, and it will die completely. That's great. The blade insects ejected by the alien dragon can actually have such a magical effect. Subai looked happy, with a thick smile on his face. Sure enough, there must be a road before the car reaches the mountain. Oozes will definitely have a way to kill them. Springtails, hydralisks, you tear the ooze monsters into pieces, and then the Mutilosaurus will finish them off, completely annihilating them. Subai gave the order. Soon, the ooze monsters began to die one by one. However, there are more than 10 of them, and it is a little slow to kill them with only alien dragons. Insect Queen, you should also give it a try. Subai ordered again. The 10 insect queens lifted up their 8 spider legs and left the territory. They shot out strong acid spines one after another, making bursts of sound piercing the air. Whoosh whoosh. After the spine hits the ooze monster, the strong acid attached corrodes the soil. The clay body could not be fused again, and the ooze monster died completely. Efficient. Subai smiled. With the cooperation of the Mutilosaurus and the Insect Queen, the speed of killing the ooze monster was much faster. The Queen of Blades stepped back and stood beside Subai. 15 minutes later, more than 200 slime monsters outside the territory were all eliminated. At this point, the 4th wave of beasts ended, a complete victory with no casualties. The alien dragon's living weapon is considered a biochemical attack. The strong acid spines of the Insect Queen are highly corrosive. If the insect swarm didn't have them, they would probably have some trouble facing this wave of ooze monsters. Subai stood there and couldn't help but sigh. It has to be said that the composition of the insect swarm must be diverse. Only in this way can we ensure that we are foolproof and avoid overturning when faced with complex and unpredictable battlefield environments. Springtails and hydralisks are all purely physical attacks, handles normal enemies without any problems. But when it comes to special monsters like the grieving ghost and the ooze monster, it seems very helpless. There is still a long way to go, and the mission of growing the insect swarm cannot stop for a moment. Subai sighed repeatedly. After being attacked by the evil Archbishop and the ooze monster, he understood a truth. He should never be careless. Even though the number of insect swarms is about to exceed 1,000, it is far from enough. The ferocious beasts, monsters, and aborigines in the land of redemption are complex, changeable, and mysterious, just relying on a large number of springtails and hydralisks cannot achieve victory in every battle and overwhelm everything. You must continue to upgrade the territory level and hatchery level to recruit stronger and more interstellar Zerg units. The evolution chamber must also continue to be upgraded to unlock new evolutionary sequences to make the insect swarm more powerful. Suddenly, Subai became full of energy and fighting spirit. At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound suddenly sounded. Tip, congratulations to Lord Su. Bai, your Hero Blade Queen's experience value is full and the level has been upgraded to LV9. Tip, after upgrading, the Queen of Blade strength, speed, bone wing strength, and psychic power will be enhanced. Tip, after upgrading, the talent, Heart of the Zerg is strengthened. Within a range of 3,000 meters, the combat effectiveness of the interstellar Zerg increases by 80%. Tip, after upgrading, Skill 1, Kinetic Impact has been strengthened, which can cause greater damage to the target unit. Tip, after upgrading, Skill 2, Psychic Displacement has been strengthened, able to sweep to a farther distance and cause greater range damage. Tip, after upgrading, Skill 3, Shattering Grip will be strengthened. All enemies within the target area, 15 square meters, will be stunned for 4 seconds and suffer continuous psychic damage. Tip, after upgrading, the combat power level will increase by 1 level, reaching level 19. The level 22 Evil Archbishop brings huge experience points. Kerrigan was directly promoted to a level. The combat power increase of the talent Heart of Zerg has also reached 80%. The range of Shattering Grasp has been increased, and the stun duration has been increased by 1 second. Over time, as Kerrigan's level increases to level 30, 50, or even 100, Shattering Grip can become a magical skill. Thinking of this, Subai's eyes showed deep expectation. It is estimated that by then, the day of dominating the land of redemption will not be far away. The system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded again. Tip, congratulations to Lord Subai, your 10 different dragon experience points are full and the level has been upgraded to LV8. Tip, congratulations to Lord Subai, your 10 different dragon experience points are full and the level has been upgraded to LV9. Tip, after upgrading, the flying speed of the alien dragon and the attack power of the symbiote blade insect will be increased. Tip, after upgrading, the combat power level increases by 2 levels, reaching level 12. Tip, congratulations to Lord Subai, your 10 insect queen's experience points are full. You have been upgraded continuously and your level has been upgraded to LV8. Tip, after upgrading, the queen's movement speed and number of mitotic enzymes will be increased. Tip, after upgrading, the skill, Healing Feeding Fluid has been strengthened, able to secrete more fluid protein and heal more friendly biological units at one time. Springtails and Hydralisks did not participate in the killing. All experience points are shared between the alien dragon and the insect queen, so they can continuously upgrade, especially the insect queen, who was upgraded from the original level 4 to 4 levels in one go, reaching level 8. Chapter 74 Soft Banelings, Powerful Explosive Bombs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The third and fourth wave of beasts harvested a lot of souls, primary energy gems, biomass, and various materials. Subai checked the resource page. Soul, 128100. Wood, 0. Stone, 1600. Iron, 500. Elementary energy gem, 2560. Biomass, 12380. More than 12,000 souls. I'm getting fat again. Who knows? Beast Tide is so delicious, that the corners of Subai's mouth raised, with a thick smile on his face. After the 2 waves of beasts came down, the number of souls increased from 6,100 to 128,100 now. Primary energy gems and biomass have been improved by different amounts. There are also a large number of various materials in the storage space, as well as a steady stream of experience. The Queen of Blades and the Swarm can be upgraded. With such a rich harvest, how can one say happiness? This is not a tide of beasts, it is clearly a shortcut to quickly improve your strength. Otherwise, it would be impossible to gain so many resources just by going out to hunt. Of course, the bonus of the wish buff is also an extremely important factor. Subai continued to check the storage space. Griffin feather, 100. Giant bones, 10. Goshawk talon, 800. Bearskin, 800. Wolf tail, 1500. Rhino horn, 460. Ivory, 540. All kinds of beasts and monsters exploded with all kinds of materials. There were more than a dozen types, and the quantities were also large. Upgrading the evolutionary sequence requires different materials. The excess can be posted on the trading channel after becoming an official lord. Although many of them are basic materials and not of high value, the advantage is that they are large in quantity and can still be sold at a good price. At this moment, the worker bees took the young worker bees and moved their fleshy bodies back to their territory. Tip: your 4 young worker bees found a 10-year-old willow tree and collected 500 wood. Congratulations to the Lord. With the enhancement of the prayer effect, the amount of wood obtained has increased by 10 times. Wood plus 5,000. Tip: your 4 worker bees discovered a micro mine and collected 800 iron pieces. Congratulations to the Lord. With the strengthening of the prayer effect, the number of iron blocks obtained has increased by 10 times. Iron plus 8,000. In a short period of time, we have collected so many resources. The cute worker bees and young worker bees are really awesome. Subai smiled broadly. Now, the resources are available to build a baneling nest. Put up, he muttered silently. Wood 1000. Stone 1000. Iron block, 1000. Biomass 3000. The blueprint of the baneling nest in the storage space turned into thousands of purple streams of light and blended into the ground in the territory. A brand new interstellar Zerg building is breaking out of the ground. Its appearance resembles a large, ovoid structure of organic matter. There are many protrusions and cracks on the surface, showing an irregular biomorphic feature. The overall color is lavender. At the top stood a large green bladder-like substance. There are many structures similar to vents on the side, which emit some green gas from time to time. This baneling nest looks really domineering. Subai's eyes lit up and he praised again and again. Lines of information popped up. Baneling nest, level, LV1. Quality, the ultimate myth. Unique, exclusive building for the interstellar Zerg. Introduction. This kind of nest-structured organism stores a large amount of viscous acid in its giant sac, which can cause huge damage when it explodes. Function, allow springtails to mutate into banelings. The giant sac on the top of the baneling layer is constantly surging with green acid. When you get closer, you can hear the sound of bubbles collapsing. Subai couldn't help but sigh. Just looking at the power, it will be absolutely terrifying when it explodes. At the same time, there is a new line of information in the springtail details. Mutation into banelings, 500 souls required. Bring it on. Dear banelings, Subai chose mutated banelings. The quantity was 100. Soul 50000. The biomass in the bodies of 100 springtails began to surge wildly, transformed into huge green cocoons, wrapping the springtails. 1 minute later, the green cocoon bursts automatically. A brand new interstellar Zerg creature appeared in front of Subai's eyes. Its body was swollen, and there was a tumor sac filled with acid on its back, which was an unstable green color and seemed to explode at any time. Because the tumor sac is too heavy, it cannot walk normally and can only curl up and roll to move. Why is it a round ball that looks a little cute? Subai's eyes lit up, dancing with sparkling light. The current interstellar Zerg units in the territory, if we look at their appearance alone, are pretty good. Banelings and springtails are on par, both being cute or vicious species. The alien dragon has a ferocious appearance and is particularly infiltrative. The queen of insects is larger in size and of average appearance. Then, Subai took a closer look, and rows of data popped up. Baneling. Level, LV8. Race, interstellar Zerg. Quality, the ultimate myth. Weapon, explosive bomb. Talent 1, softening. The softened bone plates are used to place the ball-like beating acid sacs. The carapace of the whole body is softened. Although it does not have a protective effect, it happens to be easy to emit the deadly chemicals filled with the body. Talent 2, explosion. when a Baneling approaches an enemy, it will trigger the unstable chemicals in the body to react, detonate itself, and splash strong acid outwards. Skill, rolling. The Banelings curl up into a ball and roll forward, fearless of death, detonating themselves and dying together with the enemy. Combat power, level 16. Loyalty, 100. Introduction. Banelings are self-destructive units in the interstellar insect swarm army. When they explode, they can cause huge damage in a wide range. Close contact is extremely dangerous. Level 16 combat power. It's really so powerful. If the ooze monsters in the last wave of beasts were attacked by the Baneling bugs in front of us, I'm afraid they would be wiped out easily. Subai looked overjoyed, with excitement in his eyes. The most important thing is that Baneling's attack is not an ordinary physical attack, and when it exploded, it spilled an astonishing amount of acid. This should be considered a biological attack. Even the sad ghosts encountered earlier may not be spared and will be killed immediately. From now on, having Banelings in the territory will be more stable. Subai smiled broadly, then, spend 13,500 souls to recruit 135 springtails. In the hatchery, springtails stepped out one after another with 4 hooves. Another 33,000 souls were spent to recruit 110 hydralisks. After a while, hydralisks twisted their bodies and walked out of the hatchery. Now, there are a total of 500 springtails and 500 hydralisks in the territory, plus 100 Banelings, 10 mutalisks, and 10 queens, the size of. The insect swarm finally became slightly larger. Chapter 75 Special Achievements, The Fastest Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the bustling swarm of insects in front of him, Subai couldn't help but feel very good. I couldn't help but hum a little tune and started to check the ranking list of new lords. First place, Subai, Lord of Dragon Kingdom, 10,820 points. Second place, Maxon, American Lord, 2,110 points. Third place, Koishikawa Shun, Lord of Japan, 1930 points. Leading Maxon by more than 8,000 points, he is as stable as an old dog and cannot be surpassed. Subai smiled broadly, with deep confidence in his eyes. The gap of more than 8,000 points is already a very scary number. If Maxon wants to catch up, he may only be able to do so in his dreams. Subai didn't bother to look at the subsequent rankings, having left the second place so far behind. The new lord behind naturally doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. In short, the number 1 spot is completely secured. Especially seeing that the American and Japanese countries were firmly suppressed below, Subai felt a sense of pleasure inexplicably in his heart. The new lords of these two countries are probably going crazy, but, the angrier you are, the happier I am. I just want to make you feel a strong sense of powerlessness towards the Lord of the Dragon Kingdom. Then, Subai moved his eyes to check the rankings of the two old acquaintances. Bai Mengyu ranked 8th. Zhao Xiangtian ranked 94th. Compared with the points gained at the end of the first wave of beasts, both of his current rankings have increased. Lords of the Dragon Kingdom, stand up for me and rush into the top 5. The 2nd to 5th positions on the list are all foreign lords. Subai, who was sitting firmly on Daiyutai, had nothing to do for a while and began to pay attention to the situation of his compatriots. At this moment, the system announcement of the Land of Redemption suddenly appeared in front of all the new lords. Announcement: Congratulations to Dragon Kingdom Lord Subai for surviving the 4th wave of beasts without any casualties. Moreover, the speed is far ahead, surpassing all the new lords, and setting a new record for the fastest speed in the Land of Redemption. Announcement: Congratulations to Dragon Kingdom Lord Subai for triggering the special achievement The Fastest Man. Announcement: Congratulations to Dragon Kingdom Lord Subai for receiving the reward, 10,000 souls. Another system announcement rang for me. Refresh the fastest record, trigger special achievements, and reward 1 souls. The taste of this is beyond words. The corners of Subai's mouth rose, and his face almost burst into laughter. I didn't expect such an unexpected surprise. It was like pie in the sky. Evil Archbishop, Giant of the Wilds, you two are truly my lucky star. If I can dominate the Redemption Land in the future, I will definitely not forget the contribution you two made to the swarm. The system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded again. Congratulations to the Lord, with the enhancement of the prayer effect. the number of souls obtained has increased by 10 times, soul plus 10, Su-bai was immediately overjoyed, with a thick smile in his eyes, 10 souls is really developed. The swarm can expand again, but, this special achievement, the fastest man. Why does it sound a bit strange when read? Su-bai murmured, sometimes, it's not good to go too fast. I really want to slow down, at the same time, when the system announcement sounded, the entire redemption land became boiling, all the new lords were shocked beyond measure, with deep disbelief in their eyes. Su-bai, the lord of the Dragon Kingdom, scored over 10,000 points and took the lead by a cliff. Without any casualties, they passed the fourth wave of beasts at the fastest speed, setting a new record. Trigger a special achievement and get a reward of 10,000 souls. This guy is a beast. The new lords from all over the world are all puzzled. How did this lord of the Dragon Kingdom named Su-bai create so many miracles? Is it possible that he is really the chosen one, favored by the land of redemption? The other side, Koishikawa Shun looked at the attacking high elf, with endless sadness on his face. Cutting the grass without eradicating the roots laid the groundwork for today's disaster. The injured elf high priest wanted to avenge the deaths of his people, move in stronger and more numerous high elf reinforcements. With the help of the beast tide, they launched an attack together with the beasts. Baga! Demon dogs, hellfires, all attack, kill these damn elves. Koishikawa Shun roared repeatedly. When the system announcement sounded, he became completely devastated. Hateful. Why is it this Dragon Kingdom Lord Su-bai again? Why is he so fast? He has already passed the fourth wave of beasts. Moreover, there are no casualties. How is this possible? Trigger a special achievement and get a reward of 10,000 souls. How many monsters do you have to kill to accumulate enough? Why can't the people of Amaterasu enjoy such an honor? Koishikawa Shun was so angry that his face turned purple and the veins on his neck were exposed. He gritted his teeth and felt unwilling to do so. When did the Lord of the Dragon Kingdom suddenly become so powerful? Highly occupying the top spot, continuously breaking the highest record for Redemption Land, now, get such a high reward. Extremely hateful. This reward should have been mine. When the beast tide ends and you become the official lord, you must unite with the lords of the United States and the Great Cold Kingdom to kill this rising star of the Dragon Kingdom in the cradle. Koishikawa Shun's eyes were red with hatred, and his voice was full of murderous intent. He gave the order, and the whole army of the demon clan attacked. 12 demon dogs were killed and 1 hellfire was injured. Finally, the fourth wave of beasts was carried over. Such huge casualties made the muscles on Koishikawa Shun's face tremble angrily. For Su-bai, the hatred in his heart increased again. Sisters, kill all these dirty green-skinned monsters for me. By Menu commanded the Blood Elf swordsmen and Blood Elf archers to attack the beast herds and goblin warriors attacking the territory. 20 elven warlocks stood behind, waving wooden staffs and casting the power of nature. Tree warriors were summoned one by one to join the battlefield in front of them. Due to the magical supply of the moon well, the elf warlock can continuously summon tree warriors, although the number of goblin warriors was large. There was nothing they could do against the defense line composed of Blood Elf swordsmen and tree warriors. The situation stabilized, and the balance of victory continued to tilt towards our side. Bai Mengyu's hanging heart finally returned to her stomach. Taking advantage of this time, she glanced at the standings. For 8th place, we have to keep working hard to get into the top 5. His eyes continued to move upward. When I saw Su-bai occupying the top spot with 10,820 points, more than the second place, Bai Menyu's eyes widened, her beautiful eyes full of shock. Oh my god! How did Su-bai achieve more than 10,000 points? Chapter 76, What's the harm in being a bitch? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just at this time, the system's announcement sound suddenly sounded. Bai Mengyu couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, with deep shock in her eyes. We survived the fourth wave of beasts without any casualties, and the speed was so fast. How strong does Su-bai's territory have to be to create such a miracle? Triggering a special achievement will reward you with 10,000 souls. I'm really envious. Only one Zerg, recognized as the weakest in the world, can achieve many brilliance in succession. There are more and more mysteries surrounding him. The battle is in full swing, and the situation is very fierce. Beasts and goblins were killed one after another, but the blood elf swordsmen and tree warriors in the front row also began to be injured and fell down. Seeing this scene, Bai Mengyu's heart was shocked to the extreme. The intensity of the fourth wave of beasts can be said to be quite huge. But how could Su Bai kill all the enemies attacking the territory in a short period of time? There were no casualties, which is simply incredible. Su Bai's figure appeared in Bai Mengyu's mind. She murmured to herself, the biggest dark horse in the Dragon Kingdom this year is none other than Su Bai. Just this achievement, the fastest man. How do you feel when you read it? There is a little ambiguity. This wave of beasts is over. I hope I can break into the top 100 on the list. Zhao Xiangtian stood in the territory, looking at the charging beasts and the purple-skinned orcs. Due to his nervousness, his fists subconsciously clenched slightly. The shaman holds the totem high, chants in a low voice, and releases the bloodthirsty spell. The orc infantry and the orc pig cavalry received a huge increase. Their eyes were scarlet, and they were killing the enemy in front of them. For a moment, the beast herd and the purple-skinned orcs were hacked to the point of falling on their backs. Screams and wails mixed together, resounding throughout the sky. The orc shaman's increase in troops is really huge. If this continues, in half an hour, all the invading enemies will be killed. Zhao Xiangtian was beaming with joy, with a hint of excitement in his eyes. The orc infantry and the orc pig cavalry are so fierce, maybe after the beast tide ends, they can overtake Su Bai. Open the leaderboard. At 10820, Su Bai Fault's leading points came into view. This, Zhao Xiangtian's eyes widened and his face looked dull. Su Bai awakened the waste Zerg race, and it is already very evil to occupy the top spot. But his points lead was overwhelming, surpassing the second place by more than 8,000 points. How on earth did this guy do it? In the past many years, most of the Zerg lords in various countries will be under the impact of the beast tide, their territories will be destroyed, and they will die tragically in the land of salvation. But Su Bai, uncharacteristically, not only escaped unscathed, but also climbed to the top of the list, far ahead in points. This is simply too appalling. Zhao Xiangtian was puzzled and his head was about to explode. At this time, the system announcement suddenly appeared. After seeing the information above clearly, his pupils shrank sharply and he was completely stagnant in place. Su Bai. Why is it Su Bai again? The fourth wave of beasts has just begun. How come he has already ended the battle? There are no casualties. How is this possible? Refresh the fastest record in the land of redemption, trigger a special achievement, and get a reward of 10,000 souls. I'm really about to cry with envy. Is this guy really a beast? Otherwise, how could such a brilliant miracle be created? After a while, Zhao Xiangtian finally became normal from his sluggish state. He no longer had the intention to pay attention to the battle situation in front of him. There were only two words in his mind, and that was Su Bai. Occupy the top spot and lead by a cliff, destroy everything and set a new record. These two things were like a bolt from the blue, making Zhao Xiangtian feel like a clay and wood carving, and his blood began to coagulate. Although I don't know how Su Bai did it, there is no doubt about the strength of his territory. The only mysterious reward in the end must be his. Fortunately, I didn't provoke Su Bai when I was in school or in the military area, let alone taunted him. Otherwise, after becoming the official lord, if Su Bai makes trouble for himself, wouldn't it be cool? From now on, this thigh must be hugged tightly. What's the harm in being a bitch? Zhao Xiangtian made up his mind that he would never be hostile to Su Bai. He even had to turn into a licking dog and launch a fierce offensive. The reason why he thinks so is actually normal. Once you become an official lord, you will begin to come into contact with other lords. There are some extremely evil people who destroy other lords' territory stones as a way to quickly improve themselves. The lords who belong to the Dragon Kingdom's military will impose sanctions on these lords, but sometimes it is still impossible to prevent them. In addition, the power of big families and big groups is very terrifying. There are many lords under their banner, who form an alliance, advance and retreat as one, and are extremely powerful. If a single lord encounters these huge forces, there is no chance at all. Wars also break out between countries from time to time. The lords of the United States, Japan, the Hanming, and other countries often unite in organized and large-scale groups to suppress the lords of other countries. The Dragon Kingdom suffered greatly and suffered a lot, therefore, after becoming an official lord, the crisis you have to face is huge. In addition to monsters and local forces, you also have to guard against human lords from your own country and other countries. Zhao Xiangtian is naturally very clear about the pros and cons. That's why I made this decision, hugged Su Bai's thigh tightly, and even turned into a licking dog. At this moment, the new lords of various countries are fighting bloody battles to resist the beast tide and defend their territories. If these new and weak lords are not careful, their defenses will be breached by the huge herd of beasts. Every minute, territories are destroyed and lords die. Smoke filled the sky over the land of redemption. The thick smell of blood shot straight into the sky. However, Su Bai was leisurely, humming a little tune, eating soy sauce beef and sweet corn, enjoying the leisure and comfort at this moment. The beast tide that Su Bai faced was the largest in the history of the Redemption Land, but he is also the one who is the most relaxed and comfortable among all the new lords to deal with the beast tide. With the income of another 10 souls, the insect swarm can become huge again. That the corners of Su Bai's mouth raised, with a thick smile on his face, he glanced at the resources page. Soul, 131600. Wood, 4000. Stone, 600. Iron, 7500. Elementary energy gem, 2560. Biomass, 9380. More than 130,000 souls. You can spend it as much as you like. Su Bai was high-spirited and strode towards the hatchery. Chapter 77. The fifth wave of beast attacks is about to begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recruit 100 hydralisks and 500 springtails. Sol 30000. Sol 50000. The hatchery seemed to come alive, with the biomass inside surging wildly. Hydralisks one after another, twisting and slithering, appeared in front of Su Bai's eyes. Immediately afterwards, another springtail jumped out with 4 hooves. The space within the territory became slightly more crowded. Su Bai's ears were filled with the sound of springtails galloping. These small but ferocious dune runners are restless by nature. When their numbers increase, they run around in groups, turning the territory into their amusement park. It's just skinnier than a husky. Su Bai couldn't help but sigh. It can be fierce or cute. This is the dual positioning of springtails. Mutation into Banelings, quantity 100. The genetic sequences in 100 springtails began to mutate. Huge green cocoons wrap them up. 1 minute later, the green cocoon bursts automatically. 100 round Banelings appeared from it. The green tumor sacs on their backs are filled with almost swollen acid, exuding an extremely dangerous aura. It cost 13 souls to further expand the scale of the interstellar insect swarm. 9006001010200. On the 8th day of arriving at the land of redemption, we have more than 1,700 troops. This is the first time for a new lord from all over the world. Su Bai looked around at the insect army, his eyes flashing with light. It is mentioned in the courses in schools and military zones. After the novice period is over, if a new lord can have more than 50 soldiers, he is already an outstanding existence. Like Su Bai, he used more than 1,000 troops to fight against the beast tide. In the history of the Redemption Land, nothing so evil has ever happened. If it were known to the outside world, both the lords and ordinary people would be so shocked that their eyes would fall down. With such a huge swarm of interstellar insects, how can this feeling be so good? Su Bai smiled broadly, with deep joy in his eyes. The overall number of the insect swarm is only more than 1,000, and its strength is too weak. Kerrigan frowned slightly and shook her head. Su Bai paused for a moment and asked subconsciously, if the number of the insect swarm exceeds 10,000, can it be called powerful? 10,000? Kerrigan shook her head again. Only millions and tens of millions of insect swarms can radiate true combat effectiveness. When the number exceeds 100 million, it will be able to sweep across the entire planet. The swarm never stops and the possibilities are endless. The endless sea of insects is enough to swallow up the entire star region. Hearing this, Su Bai's heart was shocked, and his face showed strong shock. Millions, tens of millions, even billions of insect swarms. This picture, just thinking about it, makes people feel excited and adrenaline soaring. Suppose one day, the endless sea of insects attacks the enemy, it is absolutely devastating and invincible. It has to be said that after hearing what the Queen of Blades said, Su Bai immediately realized that his situation was small. The current number of interstellar insect swarms is only over 1,700. How can we be complacent? The road ahead is still long, the insect swarm is growing and cannot stop for a moment. Of course, if other new lords were to know what Su Bai was thinking at this moment, I'm afraid everyone will scold you, you Versailles boss, you are really hateful. The troops under our command did not even break through to 100, but you have more than 1,700 troops, and you are still not satisfied. The development of the territory is currently in a prosperous and rising period. After becoming an official lord, there will be more ways to obtain resources, and the insect swarm will definitely become more powerful. Su Bai's eyes were blazing, filled with confidence. He punched the country of America, stepped on the country of Japan, and drowned the country of Dahan Ming with a spit. Once the sea of insects is formed, the first thing to do is these three things. Of course, Sangwa can't let it go either. These old turtles actually dared to cross the border and provoke the Dragon Kingdom. If we don't deal with them in the future, wouldn't we be sorry for this powerful interstellar Zerg? At this time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound suddenly sounded. Tip, after the impact of 4 waves of beasts, the integrity of the territory has dropped by 0.1%. Lords, please repair it as soon as possible. Tip, repair requires 2,000 wood, 500 stones, 500 iron blocks, and 500 primary energy gems. Su Bai glanced at the territory information. Territory, Su Bai, level, LV6, area, 4,000 square meters, completeness, 99.9%, reputation value, 150, title, freshman, LV6 LV4 LV3 LV1 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 LV6. The completeness dropped by 0.1%, which should be caused by the giant griffin and black-winged goshawk in the third wave of beasts. Su Bai murmured to himself, the beast herds and local forces on the land were unable to break through the defense line composed of springtails and hydralisks, and had no chance of touching the territory. Therefore, the damaged integrity must have been caused by the hostile air force. Fix it now. Su Bai did not hesitate. Wood 2000. Stone 500. Iron block 500. Elementary energy gem 500. The territory was shrouded in a faint white light. The slightly damaged ground became intact again. 1 minute later, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded again. Tip, congratulations to the new Lord Su Bai. The territory has been restored successfully and the integrity has been restored to 100%. Perfect. Su Bai's eyes smiled and spoke. The damage level of 0.1% is almost negligible. It has to be said that the fighting power of the interstellar Zerg is really quite impressive. Even though the beast tide is very powerful, it can only scratch an itch and cause sporadic casualties, especially the evil Archbishop with excellent quality and level 22 in the third wave of beasts. Although she has a powerful summoning ability, she was approached by the Queen of Blades, crushed, strangled, stunned, and beheaded directly. The state of death is really miserable. After an hour, the cold mechanical synthesized sound of the system suddenly sounded from the ears of all the new lords. Warning, the 5th wave of beast attack is about to begin. Announcement, all new lords, please note that not everyone's territory will bear the impact of the 5th wave of beasts. Announcement, only lords with very strong overall strength will face the 5th wave of beasts. Announcement, if there is no beast tide this time, it means that the Lord has survived all the beast tides. Chapter 78 Dragon Scale Vicious Dog, Thunderous Roar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Most of the new lords began to hope that there would never be a 5th wave of beasts. This means that you have successfully passed the novice stage and survived. Especially the new lords whose territory integrity had dropped below 10% began to kneel down and pray that a 5th wave of beasts would not appear outside their territories. Only a small number of powerful new lords have the courage to look forward to the arrival of the 5th wave of beasts, because only in this way can we kill more beasts and get more points. In this way, you can have a better ranking on the final points ranking list and obtain more generous rewards. The fifth wave of beast attacks will definitely come to my territory. After all, the interstellar Zerg army of more than 1,000 is too monster compared to other new lords. Let the storm come harder. Subai stood in the territory, his eyes burning, without the slightest fear in his eyes. Courses in schools and military regions all focus on knowledge about beast tides. If those with the Lord's mark awakened are of ordinary or excellent quality and there are no special circumstances, the fourth wave of beasts will be the last round of attack. For some elite-level lords, the strength of their own territory determines whether the fifth wave of beasts will come. If you are at the epic level and above, you will generally face the impact of the fifth wave of beasts. Previously, there was a threatening dragon roar. The intensity of the fifth wave of beasts may become very powerful. It's a crisis, but it's also an opportunity. Only with more kills can we harvest more resources and allow the territory to develop rapidly. After becoming an official lord, you will definitely face huge challenges from many aspects. Only by becoming more powerful can the interstellar insect swarm be infallible and carve out its own world in the turbulent land of redemption. The fifth wave of beasts, I hope it will come even more violently. Subai's eyes flashed, and two dagger-like gazes burst out. Kerrigan stood on one side, opening and closing her eyes, exuding a powerful majesty. Lord, your queen is with you. Next moment, there was a violent galloping sound, and the ground trembled slightly. At the end of the horizon, a black herd of beasts appeared. Dust rose up all over the sky, rolling in like a tidal wave. Steppenwolf, King Kong tiger, mutated black bear, woolly mammoth, ironclad lion, bloodthirsty leopard, bullhorn, golden-horned rhinoceros, blood-toothed porcupine, and pighorn beast. The herd consists of more than a dozen kinds of beasts, all of which are in the 8 to 10 level range. At a glance, it is densely packed and bustling. The number has exceeded 5,000. The number of such a huge herd has already exceeded the sum of all the beasts in the previous 4 waves. There are more types of beasts, and their levels have all improved. As expected, the last wave of beasts was fierce enough. Subai looked around with a solemn expression. 900 springtails stood on the edge of their territory, roaring lowly, their bodies arched and showing their sharp fangs, ready to attack. The 600 hydralisks were one step behind and stood tall. The bone plates under their carapace were open, and the bone needles were shining with a dark light. The alien dragon hovered above Subai's head, flapped its wings, and let out a low roar. 200 round banelings curled up into a ball and rolled back and forth in the territory. The acid sacs on their backs became extremely unstable. The swarms of insects are not afraid of death, they will only become braver as they fight. Kerrigan's eyes were sharp, and a chill ran through her body. Subai was full of fighting spirit and shouted, "The hydralisk moves forward 200 meters, prepare to fight." At the same time, the huge herd of beasts rushed into the territory within 1,000 meters like a sea wave. Warn! Near the territory, wild beasts were found invading. We have entered the range of the warning tower and are about to launch an automatic attack. At the top of the warning tower, 6 red flame stones bloomed with dazzling light. Dozens of flaming arrows condensed together, like a leaping line of fire. It attacks forward, but facing more than 5,000 beasts, the attack power of the flaming arrows was somewhat limited. It was like a ball of sparks jumping into the river and sea, and was quickly submerged. At this time, the hydralisk arrived at the planned attack position. The body stands tall and the muscles contract and open and close. With lightning speed, he suddenly launched 3 rounds of volleys. Thousands of armor-piercing needles were fired rapidly forward with a sharp sound of breaking through the air. Whoosh whoosh! Hundreds of beasts in the front row let out mournful screams, fell to the ground, and died on the spot. Alien dragon, go to battle. Subai gave the order. The 10 alien dragons flapped their wings, flew rapidly, and hovered over the herd. The tails sprayed out high-speed spinning blade insects, which attached to the beast and quickly broke into several pieces, splattering towards the surrounding beasts. After several rounds of long-range attacks, the beasts suffered heavy casualties. When they reached a range of 500 meters, the number was visible to the naked eye and was reduced by half. Springtails, attack! Subai shouted loudly. 900 springtails raised their 4 hooves, let out low roars, and raised their scythes high on their backs. They crossed over the hydralisks at extremely fast speeds and charged at the herd in front of them. hydralisks followed closely behind, waving the huge three-edged scythes on their forelimbs, and launched close combat with the herd. Under the influence and blessing of the Queen of Blades' talent, Heart of the Zerg, the combat effectiveness of the Zerg swarm increases by 80%. Although the number of beasts is huge, they do not have any advantage. The corpse of the beast was lying messily on the battlefield, with blood still pouring out from the wounds, dyeing the lush wasteland beneath him red. Roaring and wailing sounds are endless, these sounds intertwine to form a brutal symphony. Such a fierce battle, the last wave of beasts, really exciting. Su Bai's eyes showed a hint of fire. With more than 5,000 beasts, the souls exploding will definitely be huge. At that time, the number of insect swarms may be doubled again. At this time, a roar suddenly sounded. To the southeast of the herd, hundreds of canine creatures appeared. Their skin is not hair, but shiny golden scales. New enemy. Su Bai turned his head and looked around. Dragon scale vicious dog, race, servant of dragon. Quality, excellent. Level, LV10. Introduction. Creatures attached to the dragon clan, receiving the gift of the dragon clan, grow a powerful shell similar to dragon scales. Dragon scale evil dog. Servant of the dragon. Could it be that the dragon that roared before is about to appear? Su Bai's eyebrows were solemn. Under a pair of sword-shaped eyebrows, there is a pair of eyes as bright as stars in the dark night. The next second. Roar. A roar of thunder that tore through the sky suddenly sounded. Chapter 79 Purgatory Tyrannosaurus Rex, Flame Dragon Breath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hundreds of dragon-scale vicious dogs lowered their heads and split a path from the middle. A huge Tyrannosaurus Rex, as big as a hill, galloped in from a distance. Its whole body is covered with thick gray-black scales, each scale showing an irregular shape. Under the rays of the sun, it shone with a faint cold light. Its head is so huge that it takes up almost a quarter of the entire body. The huge pupils reflected a strange red color, making them look particularly distinctive. Dragon. Sure enough, we came to my territory. The intensity of the fifth wave of beasts is finally fully reached. Su Bai's eyes burned brightly and he concentrated. Lines of detailed information popped up. Purgatory Tyrannosaurus Rex, quality, epic. Level, LV26. Introduction. The powerful mutant dragons, although they have lost the ability to fly, have unparalleled defense and strength, as well as terrifying fire abilities. Epic quality, level LV26. Good guy, this dish is really hard. As soon as the novice period ends, you can encounter the epic quality Infernal Tyrannosaurus. This is the first time in the history of the Land of Redemption. Su Bai stood there and couldn't help but sigh. Courses in schools and military areas have taught that the beast tide after the novice period will only produce high-quality beasts, monsters, or aborigines at most. The epic quality Infernal Tyrannosaurus in front of him has once again set a new record in the Land of Redemption. For a time, Su Bai could no longer care about the fierce battle between springtails, hydralisks, and the herd. Focus all your attention on the Infernal Tyrannosaurus Rex and the dragon-scale vicious dog. At this time, the Purgatory Tyrannosaurus Rex raised its huge head and let out a roar that shook the sky. A large area of fiery red emerged in the abdomen, gradually spreading to the whole body. A dragon's breath thicker than an elephant's leg spurted out and blasted towards the sky. The white clouds in the blue sky were impacted by the hot dragon's breath and were rendered into a coquettish red. The static charge generated in the atmosphere becomes extremely unbalanced, and water droplets and ice particles in the clouds collide and rub with the dragon's breath. Boom! Dozens of bolts of lightning struck the ground, creating deep craters, producing extremely bright light and loud noises. The beast struck by lightning was scorched black all over and died instantly. Is this Infernal Tyrannosaurus demonstrating against me? Su Bai murmured to himself, with a trace of solemnity in his eyes. This flame dragon breath is really terrifying. Enemies who invade the territory will only die. Kerrigan's eyes flickered, and a chill penetrated her body. At the same time, the other new lords in the Land of Redemption all raised their heads and looked at the terrifying vision in the sky. They were all frightened and didn't know what was happening. Especially those new lords whose territory integrity dropped below 10% were so frightened that their legs trembled and they were a little unsteady. All the new lords within a radius of 10 1,000 miles from Su Bai's territory heard the thunder dragon roar coming from the Purgatory Tyrannosaurus Rex. They had frightened faces and deep panic in their eyes. The dragon roars. Flame dragon breath. It can actually cause strange phenomena in the sky. Why are there traces of dragons just after the novice period? This is not reasonable at all. If this powerful dragon creature attacks the territory, it will definitely not be able to withstand it. After all, even the weakest dragon clan is very powerful. The new lords at this stage are simply impossible to deal with. If the dragons really attack the territory, the final outcome will be death. For a moment, these new lords were panic-stricken, and their faces were full of horror. Thunder? No, it seems to be the roar of a dragon. How come dragons appear at this stage? Bai Mengyu stared at the eastern sky, with large fiery red clouds reflected in her pupils. Because the awakened native race is the blood elves, therefore, Bai Mengyu's eyesight is far beyond that of ordinary people, and his hearing has also been strengthened to a certain extent. She could detect the terrifying visions in the sky and the thunderous roar of the dragon, within the territory. Blood elf archers, blood elf swordsmen, and tree warriors summoned. Bai elf warlocks were fighting against the huge beast tide, but Bai Mengyu's thoughts were a little wandering. Her face was full of solemnity. What happened? The novice period has just ended. How come dragon creatures appear? You know, even the weakest dragon is of epic quality. If it hits the territory of a new lord, it will be impossible to withstand it. I hope I can survive the last wave of beasts smoothly and don't let anything happen again. Bai Mengyu was filled with worry about the sudden appearance of the dragon clan. After all, the blood elf soldiers in the territory alone are absolutely no match for the dragon creatures of epic quality. Why did the sky in the west turn fiery red? Zhao Xiangtian stood in the territory, looking at the fiery red sky in the distance, his eyes full of doubts and confusion. A second ago, the sky was blue and white with white clouds, but after a roar, the sky in the west was rendered fiery red. When things go wrong, there must be a monster. Something must have happened. Although the roar didn't sound real, it felt very strange. It didn't look like the roar of an ordinary beast. Could it be that a powerful beast has awakened? Thinking of this, Zhao Xiangtian's expression changed, and his face was full of solemnity. How powerful must a ferocious beast that can cause strange phenomena in the world be? What if it suddenly convulses and attacks my territory? The pressure of the beast tide in front of us was already very great, with a total of 300 beasts. If another powerful beast joins, the territory will be in danger. God bless you, everything will be safe and sound, and we will survive the fifth wave of beasts smoothly. Zhao Xiangtian quickly put his hands together and prayed to heaven. Koishikawa Shun looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky. His eyes became a little dull. Dragon roar. Dragon breath. It actually dyed the white clouds in the sky fiery red. What on earth is going on? Why do dragon-like creatures appear at this stage? The dragon clan is the king in the land of redemption, and its overall strength is very powerful. If you attack your own territory, you will never be able to withstand it. The enemies that appear in the beast tide are determined by the lord's territory level, troop strength, etc. Could it be that at this stage, there will be new lords whose comprehensive strength can rival the dragon clan? At this moment, Koishikawa Shun noticed that Su Bai was leading by a cliff in the standings. Chapter 80 Banelings attack and absolutely crush them. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A thought flashed through his mind. Could it be that the strength of this Dragon Kingdom Lord attracted the Dragon Clan here? This is a bit too evil. The next moment, Koishikawa Shun had a second thought, and if this dragon attacked Su Bai's territory, he would kill him. In this case, it is very likely that he will become the first in the points rankings. The only mysterious reward at the end is a chance to give it a try. For a moment, Koishikawa Shun became extremely excited. The weakest dragon clan is also of epic quality. If we launch an attack on the territory of Dragon Kingdom Lord Su Bai, he will never be able to stop it. Humph, this man from the Dragon Kingdom would never have imagined that his own strength would be the source of his downfall. Yoshi, the glory of the Japanese Empire will continue to flourish in me. Roar, the infernal Tyrannosaurus Rex roared. Hundreds of dragon-scale vicious dogs stepped forward with 4 hooves, showed their fangs, and charged in the direction of the territory. through spiritual perception transmission, Subai mobilized 100 hydralisks and 100 springtails to break away from the battle with the beast herd and stop the new enemies, moving on the carpet covered with microfilament material. The speed of the interstellar insect swarm becomes faster. After a while, 100 hydralisks arrived at the planned attack location. The body stood tall, the bone plates under the carapace opened, and the muscles swelled. Whoosh whoosh, .100 bone needles shot out, making bursts of sound. When fighting wild beasts, the invincible armor-piercing needle encountered Waterloo this time. The hard scales covering the entire body of the dragon scale vicious dog block most of the bone needle attacks. Only by hitting the face or the gap between the scales can the bone needle cause fatal damage to the dragon scale vicious dog. 100 springtails stepped forward with 4 hooves and scythes on their backs raised high, joining the battlefield. After upgrading through the evolutionary sequence, the hardened carapace grown by springtails has greatly increased its defense. Fighting with a dragon scale vicious dog, the battle situation was quite tense at this time. Bang bang bang, that the infernal Tyrannosaurus stepped on the ground, stretched out its lower limbs several times thicker than an elephant's legs, and rushed forward crazily. On the charging path, springtails were knocked away by the huge body and fell far away. "I'll deal with it." Kerrigan's eyes opened, and 2 dagger-like gazes burst out. "Bend your knees and rush out." At the same time, the system's mechanical synthesized sound sounded in Subai's ears. "Tip, the number of enemies exceeds 10. The Queen of Blades fighting will has improved. Tip, talent, bravery and perseverance, has been triggered. Tip, attack power, defense power, psychic power, and injury recovery speed are increased by 100%. For a time, Kerrigan's momentum increased steadily. Activate psychic power and perform psychic displacement. Rushing forward at lightning speed, the dragon-scaled vicious dog on its path was instantly blasted away by spiritual energy, and its flesh and blood were mangled. There was only air coming out, but no air coming in. Roar, that the infernal Tyrannosaurus Rex roared. A ball of flame surged from his abdomen, followed his neck, and spit out from the dragon's head. Kerrigan's eyes lit up with purple light, and with a push of her hands, a majestic psychic shock wave came out of her body, causing ripples in the air, between the electric light and flint. Boom, that the flame dragon's breath collided with the psychic shock wave, creating a burst of extremely bright light in mid-air. A powerful shock wave erupted in all directions. The bodies of dozens of springtails and dragon-scale vicious dogs were lifted off and fell into the distance. Resisting the flame dragon's breath, the Queen of Blades is really domineering. Subai's eyes lit up with admiration in his eyes. It has to be said that the formation of the interstellar insect swarm requires a large number of basic troops, but it is also inseparable from top combat power like the Queen of Blades. I was originally worried that the flame dragon breath of the infernal Tyrannosaurus would cause damage to the buildings in the territory. Who would have thought that the Queen of Blades could resist directly? For a moment, Subai's heart was filled with a strong sense of security. Seeing that the dragon's breath attack was ineffective, the infernal Tyrannosaurus roared and entered a state of rage. The huge body that moved like a hill began to charge forward. The momentum was extremely powerful, making no distinction between friend and foe, and all the dragon-scaled dogs and springtails on the path were knocked away. Kerrigan's eyes burned. He activated his psychic power, cast Shattering Grip, and shrouded him forward. Within an area of 15 square meters, all dragon-scale vicious dogs were knocked unconscious and suffered continuous psychic damage. However, the infernal Tyrannosaurus Rex had extremely high resistance and was not stunned, just the movement speed slowed down. Not good. The resistance of infernal Tyrannosaurus is too high. If Kerrigan is accidentally injured in close combat and something unexpected happens, it will be terrible. Subai's eyebrows were solemn and his eyes were sharp. He shouted, "Banelings, the whole army attacks." .200 round Banelings curled up into a ball and rolled forward quickly. The acid sac on his back surged crazily, emitting an extremely unstable aura. A ball of flame surged from the belly of the infernal Tyrannosaurus, and it breathed out flame dragon breath from its mouth, attacking the green Baneling swarm. Kerrigan would never sit idly by. A spiritual shock wave like a substance penetrated the body, detonating the flame dragon's breath in mid-air. the next second, the rolling swarm of Banelings is approaching the Inferno Tyrannosaurus. The acid reacted with the unstable chemicals in the body and instantly detonated itself, erupting into an extremely powerful aura in all directions. Boom! 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 Explosive bombs of almost viscous green acid exploded one after another. It was deafening and the acid was rising to the sky. It's like a beautiful piece of music, calm and rhythmic. The explosion produced huge impact, heat, and corrosive force, causing great damage to the infernal Tyrannosaurus and the dragon-scale vicious dog. Fragments of dragon scales and severed limbs of flesh and blood were scattered everywhere. And the scene was extremely spectacular. Just a few moments, hundreds of dragon-scale vicious dogs were killed and injured. One by one, the Banelings continued to charge towards the infernal Tyrannosaurus Rex, carrying acidic explosive bombs. Boom boom boom! Explosions sounded one after another. 1 minute later, the scales of the infernal Tyrannosaurus were blown to pieces. It was covered in blood and let out a shrill roar. Use all your strength to rush towards the territory. Drops of blood fell to the ground, leaving a bloody trail behind. Die! Kerrigan bent her knees, suddenly exerted her strength, and leaped into the air. The bone wing swept across suddenly. The Purgatory Tyrannosaurus Rex was already at the end of a powerful crossbow. Without the protection of its scales, it was easily hit by the bone wings. A blood mark appeared on his neck, and blood spurted out. Next moment, he suddenly fell to the ground, his pupils blurred, and he died instantly. The remaining dozens of Banelings rolled and charged towards the herd on the other side. Boom! 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 There were bursts of explosions. The herd suffered heavy casualties. Countless beasts let out bursts of mournful cries that resounded throughout the world. The blood-red smell spread over the battlefield, like purgatory on earth.